เดือนพฤษภาคมปี 2017 นี้นะครับมีคอนเสิร์ตต่างประเทศมาให้เราได้ชมกันหลายงานด้วยกัน แต่ก็เป็นการแสดงของวงนี้อินดี้ร็อกชื่อกล้องจากเดนมาร์ก MEW Live in Bangkok โดย Have You Heard นี่แหละครับที่เป็นโชว์ต่างประเทศที่ดีที่สุดในเดือนนี้โดยในงานนะครับยังมีการแสดงนะครับจากวงเปิดจากประเทศไทยเช่น Bomb Attack และ Summer Dress อีกด้วยVERYTV ได้ไปพูดคุยกับสมาชิกคนสำคัญทั้งสองของวงมิวมาด้วยนะครับเอาละครับไปชมกันเลยครับ You got with the local band from Denmark and you make it big internationally. What would be your tips for aspiring indie musician in Thailand?
I think it's hard to say because the music scene has changed so much since we started, and I think for us it was a lot to just about playing lots and lots of shows. That was really we toured so much, and that was I'm not sure if that's the way to do it now. There's so many other outlets for creativity and music, but I would just say find out what you like. Just stay true to what you want to sound like, and find your own voice. Make something that sounds like no one else, and just dare believe in it, even if it's different. Just dare to be different, and keep the dream alive.
Okay, you?
Yeah, I agree that I think the one most important thing is just to try and sound like yourself, and try not to listen too much and copy too much of other successful bands. If you want a long career, usually you have to be unique to survive for a long time, and I think that's been the key for us, that we were always more interested in just sounding like MEW than we were interested in sounding like other bands, and I think that's kind of how we made our sound and how we sort of have survived and artistically.
How did it all begin for MEW?
It started very early. I mean, we were friends in school. I've known Johan since we were 6 years old. We started by, I guess, just kind of messing around with creative things. We made a film together that was never finished.
And the soundtrack for a film?
And the sound, yeah, we did some music. And then I think then about the time that Nirvana came out with Nevermind, and the whole kind of alternative rock scene really exploded. That was really sort of a push to like, hey, let's make a band. We've been doing all this weird stuff together. Let's try and make a band, and that was kind of the beginning. So it was many years ago. It was like we were in the 8th grade when we started playing together.
So artists apart from Nirvana, who else influenced the sound and music of MEW?
I think that as we get older, it becomes very clear that a lot of the stuff that we were exposed to when we were kids has sort of lingered within us, like. All the sort of pop music from the 80s that our parents listened to, the sort of intelligent pop music, like Kate Bush and David Bowie and Prefab Sprouts, all kinds of bands, I think that's kind of come up to the surface a little bit, and we incorporate a lot more of that than we used to do.
Visual is your 7th album now in 20 years, and you have been going through a lot of change and paths, and now it's a very important album for you as a trio. Could you explain to us a little bit about the concept behind this album and the main source of inspiration for this album?
Yeah, well, we chose to start writing this one. We actually had a few ideas already on the last tour. And we kind of decided, because what we always do is like we finish an album cycle and tour, and then we go into like vacation mode for a little bit because we're exhausted, But this time we've actually felt quite invigorated by being on tour, and we really wanted to keep that energy and sort of project it into the album. So we decided to start working right away, and we finished it a lot faster than we usually do, and we produced it ourselves. It's the first album we produced ourselves. So that makes it quite different. I think the concept behind it is mostly to just kind of go with the ideas. Just when you have the idea, just let them be what they want to be, and not second guess everything too much, like kind of work more intuitively.
With the electronic scene going on and famous DJ, new generation of DJ coming up, who would you pick to remix one of your singles from Visual album? If you can.
I don't know if they. I kind of like Justice, the French house duo or whatever you call it.
There's a lot of we're gonna have some cool remixes on this album. Yeah.
Who did it?
I don't think I'm allowed to say yet. Yeah, it's a secret.
Big name?
Well, yeah, kind of, yeah.
Ah.
Well, I mean, I think remixes are cool if they're either really sort of danceable, makes the song more kind of makes you move your feet, or if an artist just takes them somewhere completely different and does something experimental with them. Those are my favorite.
Of all the 7 albums in 20 years, what would be your favorite album that you have ever done?
I couldn't choose because for me each album is kind of like an entry in a long diary. Each album is a page, maybe several pages in a diary, and they each represent a time in our life. So I wouldn't change any of them, and I wouldn't be without any of them. They're equally important to me, at least.
What about you?
No, I think you're right. I think that all of the albums have strengths and weaknesses, musically speaking. And I think that's kind of, that's why we continue to do it, because if you made the perfect record, then why would you make another one? I think, never being 100% satisfied is a lot of what drives you forward. And I think that's something you learn with time, that no one record you do will be absolutely perfect. So you can always try on the next one and do something different or better. And I think that's always been the case with us. I do like actually the record. I had a break from the band for 7 years, and I really like listening to the record that I wasn't on, the record called No More Stories, because it sounds very familiar. I know the band very well, but it's somehow different because, well, obviously it's different because I didn't play on it, but it still sounds like my band, so I kind of enjoy listening to that just because I'm a little detached from it, so I can sort of be a little more objective in a way.
For the new fans, of course, there are going to be a lot of them watching today, and if they don't know you yet, what would be the 3 songs you recommend them to listen to of MEW?
3 songs. That's tough.
I was asked this the other day, and I'm thinking, what did I say? I think I would choose a song like Comforting Sounds as one of them, off the Fringes record, and then I would choose Am I Right, I think also off the Fringes record. And then maybe I would choose, something off the new record, maybe Nothingness and No Regrets off the new record. That kind of gives you a bit of a sort of spread on what we sound like and what we do.
Agree with this choice?
I would listen only to the B-sides. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe the Zookeeper's Boy as well.
Yeah, that's
important.
Signature.
Since the first album released in 1997, Triumph for Man, it's been 20 years now. What is the secret of the success that keeping together continuously, producing great music?
Yeah, I don't know. I think our quest is the same as it always was, to just explore, music and explore what kind of sound we can make together, and to stay curious about that. I think as long as you have that curiosity, it drives you to keep going and keep trying to do better,
Of all the 20 years, what is the most memorable moment as the member of the band? These questions go to each of you. You first?
I think that when we made our 3rd album, that was the first to be sort of released internationally, and a lot of stuff happened around that. We moved to London, we started touring all over the world, and also coming home to our home country on tours, and all of a sudden we were kind of a big band, and people knew about us much more. That was quite an experience, that was pretty kind of like everything got turned upside down, So that was one of them, definitely.
What about you?
No, I agree with Jonas, but I think also maybe the very first shows that we did, you know, the very first concerts we played, sort of strikes me as being one of the moments where that I remember still to this day, and sort of like a big deal, you know. I think just getting on a stage in front of people is a weird thing in itself. So actually overcoming that sort of fear and sort of going out there and doing it was, quite a cool thing.
Okay. Let's have a words to Thai fans and new fans.
Well, thank you so much for finally bringing us over here. I mean, I know that we know that we've had fans here who want us to come for a long time.
Yeah.
So we're very happy to finally be here, and thank you for your patience, and thank you so much for listening to our music.
Trip, thank you guys from us for coming here and give us an interview, and hope you enjoy the crowd tonight.